The museum of his former loves. The first time Maya met Alex, she thought he was a ghost. Not a spectral, chain-rattling phantom, but a ghost from a future she hadn't yet lived. He was standing by the window at a mutual friend's party, a half-smile on his face as he watched the rain streak down the glass. He had a stillness about him, a quiet confidence that felt like an anchor in the noisy, swirling room. Their friend, Chloe, had been trying to set them up for weeks. "You'll love him," Chloe had gushed. "He's one of the good ones. Deep, loyal." Maya, ever cautious, had raised an eyebrow. "What's the catch?" Chloe's smile had faltered for a fraction of a second. "No catch. Well, I should probably tell you. We kissed a few times in high school. It was nothing. We were kids. It's ancient history, I promise." Maya had laughed, a genuine dismissive sound. "Chloe, that was a decade ago. I'm not worried about who you swapped spit with as a teenager." And she meant it. The idea seemed so trivial, so laughably unimportant in the grand scheme of adult dating. That night at the party, when Chloe finally introduced them, Alex's handshake was firm, his eyes a warm, intelligent brown. They talked for an hour, isolated in their corner by the window. They talked about books, about their shared frustration with their corporate jobs, about their dream of traveling to Japan. He listened, truly listened, his gaze never wavering from her face. Maya felt a click, a deep, resonant alignment she hadn't felt with anyone in years. 6 months later, they were officially a couple. Alex was everything Chloe had promised and more. He was thoughtful, remembering her favorite coffee order and the name of the obscure indie band she'd mentioned once. He was supportive, cheering her on when she landed a big promotion. He was passionate, their intimacy feeling both safe and exhilarating. Maya, a pragmatic architect by trade, found herself drafting blueprints for a future with him in her mind. It was solid. It was beautiful. The first crack in the foundation appeared on a lazy Sunday morning. They were tangled in his sheets, sunlight streaming through the blinds, scrolling through their phones. He chuckled at something on his screen. "What's so funny?" Maya asked, nuzzling his shoulder. "Oh, just the girls' group chat," he said, showing her his phone. The chat was titled The Coven and was filled with a flurry of messages about a disastrous brunch one of them had hosted. "The girls?" Maya asked. "My core group of friends from college," he said. "There's 6 of them. They're my sanity. We've been through everything together." Maya felt a warm glow. A man with deep female friendships? That was a green flag. It spoke of emotional intelligence, of an ability to see women as people, not just prospects. "That's really sweet," she said. "Yeah," he smiled, a fond, distant look in his eyes. "They're the best. Especially Isabel. She was my rock during my parents' divorce." A few weeks later, they were at a cozy wine bar and Alex was telling a funny story about his friend Lena and a disastrous kayaking trip. "And then she fell in and I had to jump in after her and we both got swept downstream. It was a mess." Maya laughed. "Sounds like quite the adventure. How long have you and Lena been friends?" "Since sophomore year in college," he said, taking a sip of his wine. Then, almost as an afterthought, he added, "We dated for a bit that year, actually. Realized we were better as friends. She's like a sister to me now." The comment was like a small, cold stone dropping into the warm pool of the evening. Dated. Maya blinked. Like a sister. She pushed the feeling down. It was sophomore year of college, a lifetime ago. It was healthy to transition a romance into a friendship, wasn't it? It showed maturity. But then, over the next few months, a pattern emerged. It was never a grand confession. It was always a casual, offhand remark dropped into conversation like a pebble, each one causing a ripple of unease. "Oh, that's from a trip to Seattle with Sarah. We were dating at the time, but the city was the best part of that whole thing." "Me and Clara? Yeah, we hooked up for a bit after graduation. It was a confusing time, but our friendship is so much stronger for it." Piece by piece, the map of his life was drawn, and Maya realized with a sinking feeling that every significant female friend in his life, all 6 members of the Coven, had at one point been a romantic or sexual partner. They weren't just friends, they were a curated collection of former flames, all kept brightly burning in the hearth of his present. And then there was Alara. Alara was the centerpiece of the collection. If the others were sketches, she was the masterpiece. Alex and Alara had been in a serious, live-together, talk-about-marriage relationship for 2 years. Their breakup, amicable by all accounts, had happened 3 years ago, but their bond had not so much broken as it had mutated. "Alara is my best friend," Alex told Maya one evening, his tone leaving no room for debate. "She knows me better than anyone. She's a permanent part of my life. I need you to understand that. I can't, and I won't, cut her out." The declaration felt less like an introduction and more like a terms of service agreement. To be with Alex, she had to accept Alara. It was non-negotiable. Maya's discomfort grew into a quiet, persistent ache. She tried to articulate it to Alex. It makes me feel strange," she said one night, after he'd spent an hour on the phone with Clara, helping her through a work crisis. "It feels like your entire social circle is just your exes." Alex sighed, pulling her into a hug. "Baby, no, that's not it at all. These are my friends. The romantic stuff was just a blip, a phase we went through to get to the real, lasting part. I'm with you. I choose you every day. Doesn't that mean anything?" It did. It meant everything. And yet, it also felt like he was asking me to ignore the architecture of his life. The foundation was built with other women. I was just the new tenant. "I feel like I'm living in a museum of your former loves." Maya whispered, the metaphor slipping out before she could stop it. He looked genuinely puzzled. That's not fair. I'm not displaying them. I'm just living my life with the people that matter to me. To prove a point, to herself as much as to him, Maya decided to be open-minded. When Alex suggested she meet Diana, one of the coven members he spoke of with particular reverence, she agreed. She's just the best, Alex said on the drive over. She's the most emotionally intelligent person I know. She was the one who held me together when Alara and I broke up. I was a wreck, and she just sat with me. She's a truly good woman. Maya braced. She knew the drill by now. And you and she. Yeah, we had a thing for a few weeks, he said, his voice soft. But it clarified that we were meant to be soulmates, just not the romantic kind. Diana lived in a tasteful apartment filled with plants and soft lighting. She was, as promised, lovely, warm, engaging, and sharp. Her boyfriend, Mark, was there too, a quiet, solid presence who seemed completely at ease. The evening was pleasant. They drank wine, talked about politics and travel, and Diana asked Maya thoughtful questions about her work. For a few hours, Maya let herself believe it could be okay. Here was a living, breathing example. Diana and Alex had a past, but now she had a boyfriend, and they were all just adults, being friends. It was possible. But the hope was fragile, a small flame in a drafty room. The real test came when Alex asked her to be his +1 to a wedding. It wasn't just any wedding, it was the wedding of Alara's sister. Maya's stomach clenched into a cold knot. Alara's sister? I don't even know her. I know, but I'm close with the whole family, Alex said, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. I lived with them for a summer. It would be weird if I didn't go. And I want you there with me. I want you to see this part of my life. See this part of my life. The museum metaphor felt more apt than ever. He was taking her on a guided tour of his most significant exhibit. The wedding was a beautiful, rustic affair at a vineyard. The moment they walked into the reception, Maya felt like an imposter. Alex was immediately swept into a whirl of hugs and backslaps. He knew everyone, and everyone knew him. Alex, my man, how are you? Looking good. Still causing trouble? Hey, stranger, it's been too long. And then she saw her. Alara. She was standing with a bridal party, stunning in a deep blue maid of honor dress. She had an ethereal quality, with long, wavy hair and sharp, intelligent eyes that found Alex across the room. Her smile was wide and genuine until her gaze shifted to Maya, and then it became polite, professional, and utterly cold. When Alex led Maya over to introduce them, the air grew thin. Alara, this is my girlfriend, Maya. Maya, this is Alara. It's so nice to finally meet you, Maya said, extending her hand. Alara took it, her grip brief and cool. Likewise, Alex has told me so much about you. Her tone was flat, devoid of the warmth she'd